What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the library. So today's Polymega journal is kind of off the cuff, script free, and I wanted to explain my comments about how the honeymoon is over with it. Now, by definition, that is technically a negative term. For those that have never heard it, when someone says the honeymoon's over in a relationship, it means that all the joy in the marriage is gone, or like the situation is gone. And it's all just day-to-day baloney. In this context, though, after having the system for I think it's 6 months now, the unknown is now gone. And surprisingly, it's almost become a daily driver for me. When I first bought the Polymega, I essentially was buying it just to have as a, if you'll pardon the DSP term, direct capture for PlayStation games and old school games because the using the Elgato with the original AV cables in the systems, the videos were like that big and grainy, and trying to blow them up was just really bad looking. So now, having used it for 6 months, it's a keeper. Like, it really is. I have retired the Neo Geo CD that is now sitting in one of my storage boxes. My poor Turbo Duo, my baby Turbo Duo that I paid for a full recapping and cleaning and getting it up to snuff, including a new AC adapter repair for it, has been just collecting dust on my shelf, just waiting to be used. And rather than having to sit through the load times or to rehook that back up and sit through the load times and, possibly accidentally scratch an $800 disc in Dynastic Hero or possibly scratch the teeth on Magical Chase, I can now just play my backed up copies of my games on the Polymega, and it's right there. And I really truly didn't appreciate the emulation until Playmagi's user interface. Like, it really is that good. And what's funny is when I started the Project Up one with the codes and the cheating and so forth, I was originally going to do it strictly on original hardware. I was not going to use emulators or the like. And that became fairly fucking obvious, like 4 games in, that was not going to be possible. My favorite example is for H-Tech A1's bowling. You can unlock 2 new bowling balls by reaching a certain score. Ironically, not 300, which is what I would have assumed, because that's the best you can do in bowling. But anyway, and trying to throw a strike in that game is ridiculous. So I was able to use the save states on the Polymega to just brute force my way to an almost perfect game to prove what didn't unlock. And more on save states later at the end of the video. Essentially, with the honeymoon being over and discovering that it really is and has become my daily driver, it's an impressive little machine. For all the faults it had and all the crap that Playmagi went through on both sides, most of that disaster or drama video footage, if you will, is pretty much gone. Like, yeah, they're still ironing out some things with shipments and there's going to be a defective module here and there. But unlike the Amico, or even to a degree the VCS, which seems to be being thrown off a cliff because I just saw it on sale for $100, I think the Polymega is going to be here to stay. And while I can't give a full-fledged review because I haven't really played through a lot of the games, I can say, as someone who is surrounded by hardware, real and emulation, and is using a real PlayStation to hack GameShark codes to help with Project Up 1, or using the save states on the Polymega, or quickly access other games so I don't have to get up and swap out the discs and so forth. My original intention of using the Polymega as a recording device for HDMI capture for the classic games, for hopefully eventually getting back to pause mode, and using it to capture PlayStation 1 games, it really has become a daily driver. And while I would always play the games on the original hardware for the review purpose and for the actual experience on the CRT, as long as that baby holds out, using this as my footage capture is a dream. Like it really is well. And so far, after 6 months, the only thing I can pin a problem on is that I don't know if there's something going on with the way the system records footage, or if I just fucked something up. And it might be a little of column A and column B, but I noticed in one of the older videos, I had the system up and running and playing as I was talking to you guys and recording. When I dumped the footage from my phone of me and then from of the Polymega being directly captured, despite having been on at the same time, I realized the footage was getting ahead of me talking. So I had to go in and manually slice it together behind the scenes to get everything to sync back up more or less. So I don't know if the Polymega footage might have to be run through Handbrake with a constant frame rate tab dinged to even that out. But I haven't had time to experiment with that. So hopefully the next journal entry will cover that. Otherwise, like the system really does continue to impress. Like Soul Blade looks phenomenal. Hopefully I'll have a little sizzle reel of games I was checking out on the system play while you guys are listening to me. Funny enough, one of my favorite features of the database has been the fact that Playmoji does have the variants of what they know listed. So as I've been tracking the 1.1s, like it becomes Christmas basically every time I get a package, because instead of sitting here and throwing it in the PC and checking file dates and so forth, I can just throw the Polymega, hit a button, and if it says, do you want to install? I know it's a code revision, and I dance and dance around the screen and install it next to the other code revision. So I can swap between the two of them, checking things out with the save states. It's crazy. Like, I'm really hoping to try and get back to some more pause mode content, but like time lately has been thin for various reasons. But all that aside, like the honeymoon may be over, but I couldn't be happier because it has become a routine part of my game rave experience, and I love it. I don't know if I was thinking about buying like a RetroTink 5 X5 whatever. I have an X2, but the problem is it's not compatible with my capture cards, and I don't want to buy a whole new capture card just to have an upscaler possibly not work with it anymore. And from that recording process, the only real hitch when it comes to using the Polymega is we don't have the memory card transfer option yet for the games to take from a real memory card to the Polymega. So like I would have to completely replay through a game to record the footage. So for action games, like to have level select and so forth, that really doesn't matter. I can just quickly boot that up and get footage I need. But for games like Beyond the Beyond that I should have done a review a month and a half, 2 months ago, trying to use the PlayStation 3 and transferring the memory cards is just taking forever to get the footage I need, especially considering that in order to get back to the dungeons, I have to frickin' walk back to the dungeons trying to figure out what save I'm on. So that's been taking a lot longer than I had hoped. But yeah, otherwise, life is good. While I don't need the N64 module, I'm really hoping it's all the rave for people that want it for the system. I do plan on buying the other modules, possibly even the N64 one down the road, just to have it as a collector's item. My next one would probably be the Super Nintendo and Nintendo module, because I only have one one Sega Genesis game, which is not worth $80 for. But it's pretty impressive. Now, if you're looking to have some fun, either with the Polymega or your emulator of choice, because with a save state, it's universal. Usually when people think of a save state, they think of using it to save their game progress, or to try and make the perfect tool-assisted speed run, or etc. But you can actually have fun with some save states, and I actually did a couple of neat things to bide my time while I was installing games if I wasn't working on something on the real hardware. First of all is the what I call the courtesy save. And the courtesy save state is you basically start an RPG, and when it gets to the first playable moment, you create the save state. So in instances like Magic Knight Rayearth on the Saturn, if you want to start a fresh game, you don't have to sit there for the half hour before you can finally control your characters. Way too long of an intro. I actually was trying to do that with the Dex Drive back in the day at the Game Shark, and we didn't last long enough for it to be uploaded. One of the other cool things is I've made myself a little minigame compilation. So going back to H-Tex Bowling, I have a save state where I'm on the last shot of a perfect game, and I only have one chance to throw the 300, and if I don't, oh well. Back to installing the games. There's also another one I did in Street Fighter. I loaded up the survival mode and intentionally got my ass beat till I had like maybe a fourth or a third of my life bar left. And that's where the save state starts. So it's basically a double survivor mode. Pretty cool. The other cool one is what I call pre-installed codes. On the Neo Geo, some of the games were censored in America, like Samurai Showdown and some of the King of Fighters games. And you'd always have to put in this button code or some sort of menu switch to get the blood back in the game. Instead of having to worry about all that, I just did the code once and created the save state. So I just choose the save state, and my blood's back in Samurai Showdown 4. It's quite nice. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah. Have fun with save states. Make mini games. It's cool things. I probably won't have another journal update until after the new patch hits, and I don't know when that's going to be. So hopefully I can try and do more pause mode episodes, try the recording out. When I did the 5-second videos for the PlayStation and the Saturn, those went over really, really well, and people wanted me to do them for the other systems in the library. And now that I have the Polymega, as soon as I can confirm which games do and don't run, I can hopefully go back and make those compilation videos in the correct aspect ratio. I know, I shut up. That's it, guys. Life's been fairly crazy behind the scenes. So if you don't see a next update in my usual 2-week span, don't freak out. I'm here. I am currently working on Cyberspeed for the Project Up 1 thing, and I can tell you this. For Cyberspeed, on the internet, you'll find about 7 level passcodes for what should have been 11, and they aren't in the correct order. I'm currently up to about 70 passcodes for it, heading into about 180 based on my calculations. So you will have a reason to play Cyberspeed. All right, guys, that's it. Just a fast update. Like I said, life is moving crazy behind the scenes. So I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.